Have you ever felt your marriage slipping into patterns or cycles of disappointment or disconnection? Having been in the therapy room with clients over the past 15 years and a person in a marriage for that length as well, I can honestly tell you that there's no marriage on the planet that doesn't fall into some repetitive, unhealthy patterns. It's kind of built into how we're wired. So today, what I want to explore are two common mindset traps that drive unhealthy patterns and weaken marriages, and how to move towards a healthier mindset that can help you reclaim or develop true partnership. So if you're new here, if you don't know my face, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a professor, a therapist, Pat Tillman military scholar. I'm a husband and a dad. And for over 15 years, I've been working with individuals and couples to strengthen their relationships. I've built this approach called Rewire. It's an evidence-based treatment that puts relationships at the center of what it means to live a healthy, fulfilling life, even if you're struggling with all kinds of other things like mental health distress, occupational health concerns. When relationships thrive, the rest of our lives seem to fall into place a little bit better. So before we dive in, I want to share a free relationship guide with you to start being able to take action today based on what you hear here. So it's available at rewirewellness.co. The link is in the description. Check out that guide. It's got skills and tools that will help you be able to get started right away. So this video today on marriage mindset is part of a 4-video series that we're putting together on marriage. Today, what we're focusing on is called, or what I call, marriage mindset. It's an approach based on treating marriage as this really unique relationship that can be a vehicle for deep connection and health. It's a chosen commitment. It's rooted in both joy and challenge. Through Rewire, we help folks work towards a vision of marriage that's balanced and resilient and can last the long haul and recover from some hard hits, if that's your case. So let me lay out the roadmap for what I want to cover today as we work towards building this healthy marriage mindset. Number 1, defining the vision of a strong marriage mindset. Part 2, avoiding the 2 common pitfalls that undermine marriages. Part 3, embracing the courage to build this mindset. And number 4, a couple of real life examples of this mindset in action. So let's start with part 1, defining the vision of a healthy marriage mindset. Let's start with this vision. It's 2 people standing side by side, looking outward, shoulder to shoulder together towards a shared purpose, a shared future, a shared mission. And those 2 people sometimes turn back towards each other in presence and joy about the fruit that has come from that work and that commitment. This is the essence of a strong marriage mindset. These 2 partners with a shared vision, committed not just to their individual happiness, but to building something meaningful together. Marriage is so unique. I have to say that I was overwhelmed at first in my own marriage. It was the first relationship that I couldn't hide my flaws. I couldn't really escape the discovery of all the parts of me, the good and the bad. So in marriage, you're seen in a way that no one else can see you. Flaws, strengths, good, bad, darkness, light, all of it. A healthy marriage mindset acknowledges this, not as a liability, but as a strength. My own vision of marriage is that it's rooted in these 2 parts, equal parts joy and growth. Having the wisdom of somebody standing alongside you who can see the pitfalls, the strengths, the weaknesses. They can encourage you to risk and try hard at things. They can also help you to see where the things that are darker or flaws in your life might get in your way. So a full commitment to marriage can be summed up in this sort of duality, in this dialectic, as psychologists might call it. These 2 true things that need to coexist for a healthy balance in a marriage. You could summarize it as enjoyment plus service and duty, joy plus growth or challenge, and love plus truth. Truth spoken without love can be harsh and criticizing. Love spoken without truth can fail to bring in that deeper wisdom that can help us to grow and thrive in the ways that we need to, given the fact that we are in marriage as 2 flawed people. So now that we've gotten through part one, let's move to part two, avoiding two common pitfalls that I see in marriage. So we've defined the vision of a healthy marriage mindset. Let's talk about two common pitfalls. Think of a road with ditches on either side. In ditch one, folks approach marriage as a self-fulfillment machine. I'll unpack that a little bit more. In ditch two, on the other side, marriage is purely a duty or an obligation, a logistical partnership. Both of these things weaken the foundation of a marriage. So let's talk about ditch one first, and it's by far the most common form that I see. It seeps into my own worldview and my own life. Essentially, it sounds like this: I expect marriage to bring me happiness, and when it doesn't, I'm really frustrated. That marriage is I thought it was supposed to make me happy. It's this self-fulfillment machine. In this vision, spouses are standing toe to toe, and they're seeking fulfillment from each other, and they're exacting critique on each other in ways that can lead to unrealistic expectation, resentment, bitterness, fixation on each other's flaws. Ultimately, this approach fails because marriage can't be the sole source of our happiness. So let's talk about ditch two. So we've got the marriage as a self-fulfillment machine. We've got ditch two. Marriage is pure duty, obligation, logistical partnership. So on the other side, there's the mindset that marriage is pure duty, a logistical partnership focused on daily tasks, but lacking joy and presence. It's all accomplishment and performance-based. When enjoyment is sacrificed in favor of responsibility, couples drift apart. They lose that deeper connection. This is the turning back towards each other part that we need. Not just the standing shoulder to shoulder on a mission together, but turning back towards each other for presence and joy. Both of these dishes lead to dissatisfaction and disconnection. So part of this community is built on self-reflection, honesty, challenge, and really looking deep within. Do you find yourself falling more often into either of these ditches? Ditch one, where you're treating marriage as a self-fulfillment machine and really frustrated by the kinds of difficulties and struggles that your marriage is bringing into your life? Or on ditch two, are you getting lost in this two roads diverged in a wood where you're dividing and conquering almost too much and treating things as logistical partnership, where the joy and the fun and the love erodes? Okay, let's move on to section three, where we're going to be talking about embracing the courage to build this mindset. So we've looked at a strong marriage mindset and the two ditches that can undermine it. Now let's talk about the courage that it takes to actually start building this mindset. Especially, and often I see only one partner is ready to embrace it. I've seen powerful transformation in marriages when one person decides to step up and live by and lead with this vision, turning towards their spouse with compassion and intentionality rather than reacting from frustration or unmet expectations. This person becomes the steady force that can pull the relationship out of these ditches and back onto solid ground. So I want to encourage you, if you're willing to be that person in your marriage, even if your partner isn't fully engaged, this can be done. I've seen it hundreds of times. It's a challenging path, but one person's commitment can be the catalyst for real change. And if nothing else, you're pushing and driving your marriage to a new formation that can make it worth having. And finally, in part four, let's talk about what this mindset looks like in real life. Here are a few examples of putting this balanced mindset into action. When conflict arises, choose to pause and ask yourself, how might I respond in a way that aligns with our shared purpose, to come alongside my spouse instead of staring directly at their flaws and critiquing them in a way that leads to more division. This turns from reaction to resilience. In moments of frustration, turn towards your spouse with empathy instead of judgment, remembering that they're your partner in building something meaningful across the long term. Regularly, on the other side, regularly take time to connect, not just on daily logistics, but on shared dreams, goals, values. Standing side by side and working together requires you to turn towards each other and enjoy that fruit. And it can be done in small ways. It doesn't need to be through grand gestures. I encourage small gestures that are sustainable and doable. So these are just a few ways to build a strong marriage mindset. For more insights, check out the other videos in the series and visit rewirewellness.co. Pick up our free relationship guide there. The link is in the description. I appreciate you watching. I hope it was beneficial for you. Building a healthy marriage mindset, it's not easy, but it's incredibly rewarding and it's doable. Let me know in the chat which part of this message resonates with you. And don't forget to explore the rest of the series or grab our free guide, rewirewellness.co. Here's to building marriages that can last the long term.